Pastor G. I'm in the house again. It's Friday, December 28th. That means that you got 3 days. 3 days till the new year, which I'm very excited about. I'm very excited about this new year and the possibilities that it presents or is going to present. I'm wanting you to get on board with the new year. Let me start off by saying this. Do you really know how powerful you are? Do you really know who you are? Do you really know what God has invested in you, the greatness of God inside you? Do you really know? Sometimes we have to understand this. This is the greatest hurdle of our lives, is really getting the grasp of who we are in God and what He created, how specific He was, and how special the thing was that He placed in you. How incredible of a moment it was when God allowed you to breathe your first breath. How a special mandate was given to the world when you were born. How great it was. I think we don't spend enough time really thinking about who we are in God. I think we focus more on the distractions of life, how many things we've gone through in life, how many things we're encountering right now, how many challenges right now that you are facing right now. You are under extreme challenge and duress right now from several phases of life, several things in life. I want to speak to you. That's who I'm speaking to today. Is all of you that are being challenged. What might seem beyond what is fair. What is that you've been challenged? What is beyond your challenges are beyond what you think is fair. Maybe so when you take a general poll from people that are around you, maybe your challenges are beyond what is fair. And maybe you have a right to feel that when you get a general consensus from people that are around you. But when it comes to what God is doing in you, He says He'll never allow you to be challenged beyond your ability to overcome. What does that mean? That's a statement within itself. If you are feeling, it's speaking to you. This challenge is speaking something very definitive to you and very clear. If you are facing a major challenge right now in your life, it seems like it's beyond your abilities. It is. If it seems like it's way beyond what is fair for somebody that is in your position, it is. What are you saying, Pastor? God did never intended for you to face it alone, number one. It is beyond you. It is beyond the person that is in your current position. That is God telling you that your current position is about to expire. He's about to move you into something else. All of these are indications that if He puts it on you, He knows that you can bear it. He's trying to show you, I would have never allowed you to go through this moment if you didn't have what it took or what it takes to be successful. I would have never let you even come to this point if God didn't think that you were capable, if He didn't know what He placed inside you, if He didn't know for sure that you were able to do it, He would have never challenged you with it. Hear this. Every challenge is an opportunity opening. I've been saying that over and over again, and I need you to, we have a couple of days till a new year. Every challenge you face is an opportunity opening. What is an opportunity opening? In other words, before you allow to walk into what you desire, what you see, the dream, the vision, there has to be a challenge issued. Number two, accepted. You see the challenge, you got to accept the challenge because it's the segue into next life. You never go to next life, you never go next level unless there's a challenge that is issued and accepted. Now, life issues the challenges. You have to accept the challenges that life issues. God never lets you face something that He has not fully equipped you to overcome. Never would he never puts more on you than you are able to bear. Please hear what you've been telling and saying and quoting. If you are here at the place of challenge, it is because God has invested something in you that he wants to come alive. He's going to show you that you can overcome it. And then you're going to build confidence. Every conflict in my life is God's tool to build my resume of confidence. You're still here. Remember last year about this time, you said, I don't know how I'm going to make it. You're still here. Now count that as a winner's position because you're still here. You're still here. Well, Pastor, it didn't go. I don't care how it went. You still here. You better start counting that. You start counting that. I think what is happening, you're still basing things on what other people saw and what they thought and how they seen it. No. They got their own thing. They got their own thing. You the one got to see that I'm still here. You the one that's got to start. You the one that's got to hit the reset button to begin the new life. They can't hit the reset button for you. They can only hit the reset button for them. So you got to know that you overcame. You got to know that every time I faced the struggle, God brought me through again. You got to know. You got to reflect. You got to say it. You got to see it. You got to see that I'm still here. You got to see they said I wouldn't make it. They said it wouldn't happen. You got to see this. As long as you're still here, there is an opportunity to hit the reset. Hit the reset button. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to start over. I'm telling you, it's okay. Don't be worried about who's going to think, how they going to think. That's not your issue. Your issue is to push reset and get it popping. So that's what we are. And here we are today. We're at reset because 2019 is going to be incredible. That's going to be an incredible year for you. Somebody write that in with me so I can know that you are in agreement with me. Right, 2019, incredible. That's all I want you to write. 2019, incredible. That's what we're going to talk about in this, the gift. I want to explain the gift, but 2019, incredible. Thank you, Lakita Walker, Pastor Nolan Brown, Dallas, Pastor Giver Johns, Prophet Pamela, to Kivia Young. I always acknowledge people because you can be doing so many things. You're here. I'm about to dig into something. You don't want to go anywhere either. Got Wanda Wilson, Pastor Marissa, thank you so much. Pastor Deidre, Michael D. Mason, thank you. Chanda Duckery, thank you so much for being in the house. Jessica, thank you so much. Our NOBD liaison is Jessica. Sarah in New York, New Jersey. Pastor Anthony Bradford in Denver, thank you so much. Pastor Angela in Maryland. Freddie Ratliff Jr., thank you so much for being in the house. Paris, thank you. Latasha Anderson, thank you so much. Leah, thank you so much. Harleen, hey, Harleen, what's going on? Katrina Robinson, stay with me now. I'm telling you, I am just beginning. I got some information that you need to hear today. Thank you, Leah. Looking forward to seeing you. I don't know where you are, but I'll see you in a minute. From San Francisco, would you be in Little Rock? Thank you so much. Now, 2019, incredible. Here's some things that we're going to have to reprocess. This is very important. I've been given the mandate to, I want to share this with you. For those of you that have not gotten the endorsement from the persons that you think need to endorse you, just go ahead and say, I'm not going to worry about it. Just say I'm going to begin to work. Just begin to work. Just start working. Just begin to work. This 2019 is going to be such an incredible year of exchange. Once we get into what is called an alignment, we got to get in alignment with God. So many times we have not even gotten down to where we get in the face of God to find out what is it in specifics. Your church life, which is a great life. I'm an endorser of it. Can sometimes give you a built-in plan or a default plan for life. And we never get down to the specifics of what God has called us. And so most time we can't even be a blessing to what we are connected to because we don't know in specifics who we are and what we are created to do. We just go with the default plan. We watch and we say, that sounds like a good place to be, and I'm going to do that. But this year, 2019, won't be that. You're going to specifically find out what it is I was created to do. And so it's going to take and require some discipline. You're going to have to come aside. because there's so many influences that you have. And they're great influences. They're great influence. Remember, the Bible says this, that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. He should not expect to receive something from God. That's a very incredible passage of scripture, because most of the distractions that really get your attention are distractions that look as good as what you are called to do. The enemy knows this. He's not going to bring something that's totally opposite. The best way to distract the man is to give him something that looks or could be just as great as what he's already in. Now he has to say, well, should I go here or should I do this? Now, this takes us getting really specific with God to find out for sure, and then being able to say, okay, that looks good, but it's only called an acceptable substitution. And that's not what we're wanting in this season, because this next year is that 2019 is the year of relaunching. For some, it's the year of launching. And why I said relaunching is because you are finally getting to the time in God that he's going to allow everything he showed you in vision to come to pass. You worked real hard. You did everything everybody else told you to do. You were very diligent in someone else's thing. And now God is calling you to begin something brand new. And so you're going to relaunch. It's going to feel like a relaunch, because I've been trying. And there's others that never came to the place of God, what he created you specifically to do. This year is going to be the year of your launch. Why? It's because it's God's time to launch. It's God's time to launch. So if you will, write again, 2019, incredible. Thank you, Pastor Chuck, Charles Bethany. Thank you so much for being in the house. Now, Regina Strength to God, thank you for being here. Now, for those of you who haven't shared me, I suggest go share this right now. Let's get into this thing. I want to really bring what is it? I want to highlight something that could be an incredible distraction if we're not careful. The enemy is wise in his distractions. I'm telling you, the distractions. The enemy never shows up as himself. He never shows up as himself. I'm sorry. The thing that is that he designs to bring you down, he does not show up as it. You won't get it until. This is why. Listen to me. Listen. There are going to be incredible distractions in this season. Jesus tells Peter, he says, Simon, 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 Simon. Notice how he calls him Simon. Even though he's Peter, apostle, he's been changed, but God comes and he speaks to the weakest part of us. He says, Simon, Simon, Satan desired to have you, or to sift you. What is he saying? He's saying, be very careful, Simon. I'm not going to talk to the apostle in you. I'm not going to talk to the title. Let me talk to the you that is vulnerable to deception. Yeah, let me talk to that you, because he's going to come and he's going to sift you. In other words, he's going to come. Now, notice he's a thief. He's always called a thief. I need to show you this. I know I got something, but I need you to hear this. He's called a thief. Now, a thief don't want you to know he's stealing. He slowly, methodically take things away. So what Jesus tells Simon, he's going to sift. He's going to take these things very slowly. You're going to be still moving, Simon, and you won't even know that you lost one, or something is missing. He's not a robber. He's not going to come in at gunpoint and take it, because you well, no, but he's going to come as a thief. He says, so Simon, Satan desires to have you. He wanted to sift you. In other words, he wanting to come into your life and rob the things because you're not paying attention. You could get so busy now. He's telling someone that he has handpicked, that is a part of his crew. Now, how are you going to tell me, Jesus, that he's going to sift me and I'm a part of your crew? Because you can be a part of the crew, but you ain't paying attention. You can be a part. You can be going methodically doing everything, but you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to what is happening. And so he says he desires to sift you. Now, I want to make it very plain, because there are some of you that are listening got incredible. Sometimes when you give people instruction, they think you're negative. I don't give instruction to be negative. I give instruction to people that actually got the potential to be great. That's one of the things you want to realize. When you get instruction, it's not negativity. Don't consider. I know culture says now that it's negativity when someone says something, because you don't understand what they're seeing in you is what they've seen in themselves, and they want you to actually have a chance to get there. And they know that if you don't put this in place and that in place, you can have all the potential in the world, but you'll never get to your destination. Please hear that. This generation don't want to understand that potential is not, it speaks of what is possible, not what is actual yet. As long as it's potential, that means that it's not actual. It's still saying that it's possible. You want the possible to become actual because you got the potential. And so you're going to have instruction to make the potential become actual, not just possible. And so don't call it negative when someone pull you aside and say, listen, for you to get there, you're going to have to put some things in place. If not, you'll never be there. And so when you hear the instruction, so biblically, I always use scripture because I think it's the scripture, it's the script that paints the picture. It gives you what you can have in life in detail. And so here it is. He said, you're going to have to be very careful, Peter, even though you're a part of my hand select picked crew. If you're not careful, there's an enemy that's going to cause you not to pay attention, and he's going to rob you of your potential. He does not want it to become actual. And so he says, I'm not going to take away this enemy that's trying to sift you. What I'm going to suggest to you, Peter, is that what I'm saying to you, you listen to the instructions so you can defeat what is coming against you. Because you're no longer a child. Now you're supposed to be mature. You're supposed to be able to hear and apply the instruction so that everything that comes against you, you will be able to recognize it and say, I'm going to stand strong in spite of the attack. Whew, that's powerful. And so he says the enemy desires to, he says, but I pray for you that your faith don't fail. Why is he telling them this? This is why he's saying it to them. He said, I've seen many like you that comes with the potential. But if you're not careful, you won't ever make it actual. You just live in the glory of what you was had in potential. And he says this, because the timing is right for you to be distracted. With all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, with all of the situations that are being presented, it is actually the atmosphere of deception. It can easily happen to you that are hand chosen to do great things to be deceived. So he's telling him, he says, I'm just telling you, Peter, I'm not taking away the enemy. I'm giving you the tools to defeat him yourself if you pay attention. Watch what he said. Why is he telling them to be very careful? He says, because when he asked for you, you were not the only one that he asked for. If you read the text, it's very interesting that he's speaking to him in a time that one of his other hand-chosen brothers had already been deceived. So here it is. Here is Judas, who was a hand-picked disciple, has already succumbed to the deception. And so he's saying he's coming. Judas is not the only one he wanted. He wanted you too. So in other words, you got to be very careful in this season because you have so much potential. And it has a possibility that if you don't pay attention, you might get distracted enough that you die in the process. And that's not what God is asking you in this season. Now, let's talk about one of the major distractions that is happening in this season. If you have not shared this, go ahead on, because it's about to get very interesting. I'm a reference a passage of scripture. This is 1 Samuel chapter 10. 1 Samuel chapter 10. Today, Uplift is called I've Been Given the Gift. I've been given the gift. I'm thankful today because I've had my third grandchild and Nova is in the house, and I'm thankful. And this is a sign to me, and I want it to be something that is special to you. This is the season that you're going to birth something. Get ready. The pains are a sign. The intensity of your pain is a sign that it's birthing. 2019 is the year of lunch, or the year of birthing. Get ready for that. But there's major distraction. One of the major things, remember, the enemies against you are here to take what your gift produces. Enemies are ready. They desire, once your gift produces something, the enemy comes and take the spoil. In other words, what your enemy has increased, what your gift has increased in your life, your enemy waits until the harvest, then he wants to come. But there's another enemy that is very familiar, that you're very comfortable with. That enemy want to actually take possession of the gift. That's what that enemy wants. He don't want what the gift produce right up front. The enemy, the real enemies, wait until boom, it has produced, and now I'm coming to get that. Let you do the work, and then I come get the spoil. But the enemy that you're facing is very familiar. That they want to control your life, your very life. They want to. Unfortunately, the persons that can actually take control of your life are people that you're very familiar with. They can't, in other words, they don't see you outside of their grasp. They don't see you there. They just can't see what God has totally invested in you. They don't see that you are capable, or when you say, I got next, when you declare that I'm next, it brings a They just don't like you to say that. That's what I want to expose. They just can't stand you to say that there's something that God is going to do in you, and it's going to be as produced by God, and it wasn't produced by them. And so you might have a little bit of trouble there. So I want to start teaching. I want to start teaching now. I want to reference today a passage. This passage is going to be from 1 Samuel 10. Now, I use the scripture because it's a script that paints the picture, but I want to talk about it and allow you to focus in today, to make the parallels today, because you are focused, you are being fought by enemies that don't want to see you walk into what God has promised you, or the vision that God showed you some years ago, perhaps. You've been going through some hardships. You've been going through some major challenges. Remember, if God allowed you to face the challenge, he will never give you something that he has not already equipped you to overcome. And if it's intensified and it's big, God is saying, I have put big potential inside you. Every challenge is an opportunity opening. If you're thinking you're going to have an opportunity and you don't see a challenge, it's not an opportunity. It's just you walking into something that perhaps, the Bible says we should fight the good fight of faith. What is a good fight? If you go to the boxing world, the good fights are ones that I'm almost guaranteed to win, and I'm going to get a lot of money for the battle. If what you're fighting against or fighting constantly is not giving you great spoils, in other words, it's not giving you a great harvest or a great return, walk out the ring now, because you're just wasting your time. You're just getting beat up for nothing. Yes, but you do want to take the good fights of faith, that when I see the challenge, I see what comes after I accept the challenge. This catapults me into a new life. So 1 Samuel chapter 10, I'm gonna start there. I want to let me lay some context down, and then I'm gonna start reading. I want to show you something very powerful. Saul has been chosen or selected to be the captain of God's inheritance. Now, this was the most unlikely person to walk in the position. As a matter of fact, so Saul was a very shy guy. If you read the story of him, he did not want to even stand out in public because he was taller than everybody else. What he had in his uniqueness, he thought was something that that was awful. Just like so many of you right now. Your uniqueness, the thing that made you different from everybody else that can't be like you have told you that there's something wrong with you. And so you didn't want it. You thought it, but this season, God is exposing that. That's the very thing that he wants about you, the uniqueness. So stop trying to fit yourself into the normal crowd when God has automatically made you different from the outset. It's very important that you get that. And so he's going to bring confidence to you. Whatever it is that you got, whatever you think is not enough, whatever you think is not good enough, God is going to allow you to see yourself and see yourself as he sees you. Get ready for that. Now, here it is. Here it is. There's an enemy that's going to fight. I've been teaching that if the persons you allow in your space can't celebrate you, even when they find out that you were birthed to take their place, they should still be able to celebrate you. When the people that you around can celebrate you, when it seems like you're taking their place, then you know you got the right people in your space. It's not that you're trying to take anybody's place. You're just following the divine direction of God. That's what you're here to do. And when you got the right people in your space, when you make the announcement of where you're going, they automatically agree and say, I've been seeing it for quite some time. I've been ready for you to make the announcement. This next season is a season of you being where you're celebrated. You've been just playing on the playground of where you just been tolerated by people. This is not, you got to see, this is not an arrogant place that you're getting arrogant. It's a place that you're going to get confident because you are next. I'm getting stuck right there. I am so stuck because somebody needs to hear this. God's greatest gifts are hidden in the pile of unpopular stuff. Let me say that again. God's greatest gifts are hidden in the pile of unpopular stuff. You are God's greatest gift, but you're not popular. And you are gifted of God. You think that you got an inferiority complex about yourself. The enemy wants you to continue in that because you are God's greatest gift. And what you feel about yourself is being highlighted by somebody that recognizes there's something in you, but they don't want you to ever come into it. That's why your greatest enemy is going to be familiar. It's going to be the persons and the people that you don't want to be your enemy. I don't want them to be it. But this is a season that you're going to come and see, wow. Be ready for God to expose something that you don't want him to expose. This is important. This is important that you get this. I got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of things that I could share with you, but I feel so impressed right now. I got to stay here. I've got to stay here. God is going to expose something to you that you don't want exposed. God is going to take some things away from you that you don't want him to take. What I'm suggesting today, be very patient with God. The worst thing you can do is when God disconnects, you go and connect it back. This whole teaching started out with Saul's father, Kish, losing something to send him out of the house so that he could go look for his life. Now, I want to say this very clearly. The fathers might not be necessarily be interested in what you are to become. Now, when I say fathers, I'm talking not naturally. Maybe perhaps it is, but you are next. You were ordained to be next. You were birthed to be next. God wants you to see yourself as you've been playing another role. It has not been you. It's the acceptable role to everybody else. It's the level down role. God wants you to know who you are in him. God wants you to know. Now, please hear this. The fathers, God creates situations like in this 1 Samuel chapter 9, that Kish, the father of Saul, loses something valuable so that he could send Saul out to look for it. This is the only way that he would allow his young son to leave the house. And there's nothing. It has to be him losing something important to him to allow him to go out to look for it. We know this through this text that this was a divine intervention from God to get him out of the house of the fathers so that he could actually hear outside the influence. He needed to hear outside of the influence. There are some influences. Let me say it like this. You were built to go further than your mentor. Let me say it like this. You were built to go much further than your mentor. This is why the persons that you have in your space in this next level of living got to celebrate you, even if you and they know that you are here to take their place. It's not your desire to take their place. It's what God has built in you. Your mentors have got to believe that you are better than them. As a matter of fact, if your mentor or your teacher don't believe that you are to exceed them, they are failing in their teaching. Stay with me now. They are failing because if you're teaching someone, you should always expect them to excel or exceed doubly what you taught them. This is so important. This is so important. So if the people that you have in your space right now can't celebrate you in your next level, I don't care how and how much they meant to you, they probably not conducive for where you're about to go. And every level of exchange and whatever your exchange is in life is very important. And so Saul's father Kish had to lose something to send Saul out to actually look. But we know this was a diversion built by God to get him out from the influence so that he can hear what God has specifically birthed him to do. And when he goes looking for what his father lost, he actually finds what God is trying to give. That's important. You will lose things in this next level of living that is very important so that you will see the need to start looking for what God really wants to give you. You're going to have to clear some things out for you to see the need that I need to be looking for my next life. So this 2019 will be a year of clearing out clutter. There's a lot of things you got in your space that won't allow you to think. And so you're moving outside. So now here it is. Here it is. This is what 2019 is. It says verse 10, chapter 10, verse 1. It says, then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon the head and kissed him and said, is it not because the Lord has anointed thee to be captain over his inheritance? And that's very powerful. That's very powerful. You are anointed to be captain over God's inheritance for the place that God has anointed you, or the space. Please hear this. You were built for this. Yeah. This next year is going to be an incredible year of exchange for you if you can hear what God is trying to say to you. It's a year that you're coming. It's a year of manifestation. It's a year of your coming out. It's the year of your announcement. You are here to be the captain of God's inheritance. Now, you won't hear this if you keep allowing the fathers to overshadow. What the world is in desperate need of is the new voices. You are part of the new voice. You've been ordained for such a time as this. You're going to hear and have much pushback by the people that could never see you in the position. That's just that. It's just the way it is. But this is your year of launching. This is the season of launching. Remember, the things that you have been challenged with, they are incredible. They have been one thing after the other. So many people might look at you and say, if I had your life, it would be everything would be special. But they don't know the challenges and the things that you have faced, how incredible you had to fight to just have a place of solitude where you could just have the face to look. But here's what you must understand. You might think it's unfair, again, for you to be challenged, for someone in your position or level to be challenged. It might feel like it's unfair. It is. Why? Because God is signaling to you right now that the level you own, you won't be living there any longer. He's telling you that it's time for you to move to the next level. Every challenge, I got to highlight this again, every challenge is an opportunity opening. If there's new opportunities coming and you don't see a challenge, it's probably not the opportunity to be taken. It's probably a distraction. If David does not take the challenge of Goliath, he goes down in history as just a shepherd boy. If you don't take the next challenge, you will never segue into your greater life. This is why it keeps coming around again. Why? Because it's time for you to face it. God has already given you the power to face it. You running from it because you hearing voices tell you that, there's so many that listen to me. You have overachieved. You went to school. You've done a lot of things to quieten the voice. So many times we get into things just to stop the voices, stop hearing the voice. We overachieve to stop hearing the voices. That's great. It's great. I'm glad that you did what you did. You got the education. You did all those things you went and achieved. But now it's time for you to face that voice, the enemy of your greatness that tells you over and over and over and over again that you won't. I'm here to tell you that you will. This is a time that you're about to face that challenge that you thought was too great. Scripture says, you quoted it several times, God would never give you more than he's already equipped you for. I'll say again, God will never give you more than what he's equipped you for. He will never put more on you than you can bear. But you're going to have to stop now and face the challenge. You're going to have to stop now and face the challenge. You're going to stop and you're going to have to face the challenge. Saul, this is 1 Samuel chapter 10. Saul gets a prophecy. He's not equipped for it. He doesn't want it because he's so shy. Remember when he first get the inkling that God had something planned for him, he tells Samuel, the prophet, he says to him, he says, do you know who I am? Do you have any idea who I am? I am from the tribe of Benjamin, the smallest of all the tribes. And he says, furthermore, I am from a family that's the smallest family in the smallest tribe. In other words, this kind of stuff don't happen for us, and we have accepted it. How many of you right now is telling God, who's promised you greater life, that you don't qualify, and maybe he made a mistake when he said that you would do it, and you've been fighting battles? Your mind just can't process it. Well, what God is trying to say to you, as he was saying to Saul, this is not by power nor by might, but it's by my spirit. When you come forward, you are going to know, as well as everybody that has seen you struggle and seen you go through, that said you couldn't, they're going to know that this wasn't by your own power. This was by a divine intervention. Are you ready to see a divine intervention in your life? This is why this is a different season of your life right now. This is why you're coming to a different place in your life right now. This is why God is not going to allow you to just let him be an option. I got several other plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. He's going to remove all of those. Well, here it is. He's going to give you the opportunity to make the choice to make him number one. Once you make him number one, he says, I'm going to give you back. Now, I'm not talking to people that have been perfect in their application. I'm not talking to people that's been perfect in their life. That's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to people that have struggled their entire life. I'm talking to people that might have it going on in the eyes of people, but inside you are struggling like a big dog. I'm talking to people. It's going to be real this time. God is relieving and removing what is the superficial, and you're coming to what is real. You're about to have a peace inside as well as the outside. You won't, in this next season of your life, buy another material thing to cover up that what is broken on the inside of you. God is here to heal because he's ready for you to launch. 2019 is your year of launching. You got to get ready for this. So he's trying to heal your inside, even though you look good on the outside. Don't you get caught up because you got a new car, new house. Don't you get caught up as being wailed because of a material possession. The power to heal is here. Some people have struggled their whole life because of an incident that happened 20 years ago in your life. I need to speak really clear to somebody. Somebody is still struggling with something that happened to you years ago. And the enemy keeps telling you, you're going to get here, but I'm not letting you cross over. You're going to get here, but I'm not going to let you walk into this. I'm just not. And you've been fighting. You've been struggling. You've been telling yourself. Some people don't have you can't see yourself winning, because if I win, that tells me I've got to be something that I know I'm not capable of being. If I walk there, that's going to suggest that I'm somebody that I want. I don't want that. Well, I'm here to tell you, It's not because you asked for it. It's because of God's plan for your life. And you're going to have to agree with the plan that God has placed on your life. It's not because you asked for it. This is not something that you're standing and saying, I want to be number one. I want to be. That's not what you are. You are saying, I don't want it. And God is saying, I want you to have it because you're humble. Because of your attitude, I'm exalting you. There's a spiritual law actually in place. If you humble yourself, you will be exalted. Well, here it is. Saul did not want this. The text says, Samuel pours out. Please hear this. Please hear this, because you're going to have to overcome something that you don't want to overcome. I know I'm talking and I'm trying to properly unpack this, because there's so many people that you are at the door of luncheon. This is your come out season. Write it in there again if you didn't do it the first time. 2019, incredible. 2019, incredible. This is God showing you who you are in Him, even if nobody else is able to endorse it. Even if the persons that you always admired, they can't see it. This is a breakout. This is a breakout year for you. I'm excited about it. This is the year that you're going to break out. It doesn't matter. God is going to allow you to overcome everybody that you thought you had to have if they are not on board with you. He's going to take away everybody that tell you that if I'm not there, you won't be able to do it. It's all because of me that you are. If I didn't do it, if I leave you, if you leave me, you will never be anything. Watch this next season of your life. God is going to show you that you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. And everybody that connects to you is going to know that they are blessed just to be in your presence, because everybody around you is going to win because you are in the midst. That's the way you got to see yourself. That's what he's telling Saul. Don't tell me who you are in the physical. Lock on to who I'm telling you are in the spirit. And everybody that was able to stop you won't be able to stop. So here it is. Here it is. Here goes Samuel. Samuel says to Saul, he said, is it not because God has already, in other words, here's the greatest prophet in the life of Israel telling a no-name who's got an inferiority complex. He's saying to him, I want to make something very clear to you. God is with you. And Samuel is saying to him, Saul, that I'm only here because God has already given you the goods. I'm going to say that again. I'm only here because God, you think it's all because of me that you're going to be successful. Samuel tells Saul, I'm only here because God alerted me that there was somebody that's got the goods coming. And he allowed me the privilege of being able to recognize that you already got everything inside you. You've already got everything inside you to be successful. I know you've been talked about. I know you heard things that made you lose your confidence. I know you've been through situations that caused you to lose your self-confidence. But I'm about to send somebody in your space that's going to recognize that in spite of all the brokenness, in spite of all the bad decisions you made, in spite of all the things you've gone through, I still see that there's a king inside you that is ready to come forth. And if they are not echoing those sentiments, perhaps you need to go and exit stage left. You need to go ahead on and say, let me get rid of the good toxic people. Let me get rid of the good people that can't see me prosper. Let me get rid of the good folk that have the potential to speak and I listen. Let me get rid of the good folk that has already put a limit on my life. They already telling me you won't make it in. Now watch how they speak into your life. Say, yeah, I'm just here to make sure you don't get in over your head. I just want to make sure you don't make. I just want to make sure you don't. They don't know that the life that you live has prepared you for such a time as this. That's why God allowed it to happen because he wanted you to be able to thrive when everybody else was running. It counted. All things work together for good. Everything that you've gone through counts. Everything that you've gone through counts. Now, watch what he says. Here's what he said. He says to him, you have been anointed captain over the Lord's inheritance. You got next. In other words, you are next. You are next. You have been given the task to protect what God is doing next. You're the captain of the Lord's hand. Now watch, Samuel says something very powerful, because Saul could have very easily said, oh my God, Samuel spoke that to me. Oh my God, he is the God of my life. No, Samuel made sure that Saul understood, I'm just only speaking to you what God has said about you. You've already got the goods. You already got the tools. The next persons that are in your space won't be the person that validate you. They are the persons that will cultivate what you already have inside you. If they are not cultivating, if they are saying, I'm giving you this, wrong. You're not giving me nothing. God gave that to me. Now, you can cultivate, you can share your experiences with me so that I can build confidence to be able to walk through the disciplines that you use to maximize what you were blessed with. That's what people are to your life. They are here to cultivate what you've already got from God in your gift. Are you listening to me? This is very important to move forward. This is very important to move forward. What do you teach? Just hypothetically, what do an old basketball player teach a new basketball player that's already skilled beyond his skills? He don't teach him how to shoot. You know what he teaches him? He teaches him how he spends his money, what kind of investments he should make it. Because you already got the skill. I already recognize you're going to be a millionaire, but you don't know how to do your money. I don't spend time teaching you how to shoot because you're already skilled, greater than I, because you're the next. You're already skilled. You already got the goods. Now let me teach you how to spend your money. That's what we got to experience in our life. People are trying to tell us that they are responsible for our life, when they should be trying to cultivate what I've already got, because God has given me the next. And God's only doing what's next with who's next. He's already given me the good double portion of it. He's already given me to do greater things. He's already given. So I need people in my space that are not going to be hating, but are going to say, I see you got it. Now let me show you the disciplines how to maximize it. Are y'all still here with me? So now he says, Samuel says to Saul, watch what he says. Verse 2, chapter 10, 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 2. A very powerful statement from a mentor to a student. Very powerful. This was the exchange of all exchanges. Here's what Samuel says to Saul. Even if Saul wanted to cling on to him, he says this. He says, when thou art departed from me. In other words, you can't stay here with me, because if you stayed in my presence, you stayed here with me, what God has created in you will never be maximized, and the world won't be better, because you were created to be captain of God's inheritance, and you're going to have to leave me and go out there and give the world what God has given you. Wow. Just imagine if all the people now would look and say, you got it. So I'm not going to take possession of you. I'm not going to hover you. I'm not going to dominate you. I'm going to prepare you to leave me and go out and share with the world what God has already given you. That's what 2019 is all about. Watch what it says here. This is when thou art departed from me today, then thou shalt find two men. This is a very interesting story. My time is almost up, but this is a very interesting story. Notice what he said. One man, Samuel, who is the most heralded prophet in the time of Israel. The Bible says he judged Israel 40 years, not one word fell from his mouth. Let me unpack it. What that means is everything he said, 40 years of his being a judge, everything God honored it, it came to pass. One man is saying to Saul, who has been ordained captain of God's inheritance, now it's time for you to launch out. I'm here to cultivate what you got inside you but I can't tell you got to stay here with me. Ain't it amazing how people tell us today, if you're not around me, if you leave me, you're nothing. If you don't stay with me, you will never be nothing. You ain't gonna never succeed without me. Well, here's Samuel who prophesied 40 years, not one word fell from his mouth, telling Saul, you got to leave me. It's time for you to go, to see what I'm saying, what I'm verifying work. If you stay here, I don't need it to work here because I'm here. I need it to work out there, so I need you to leave. Because I'm going to be better if you go and leave. Now watch what it says. It says, when you leave me, here's Samuel telling Saul, leave me. It says, and when you are departed from me this day, thou shalt find 2 men by the sepulchre in the border of Benjamin. Notice that. He says, you won't see the next level of exchange or the next level of network until you get out of my presence. He said, I am one man, me. When you leave me, you're going to run into 2 men. That's amazing. That's amazing. And God is constantly allowing us to come into network with different people in our lives. But if we don't take the initiative to leave, we'll never see the different exchanges. This is why the person that is our mentor got to be able to see that it's time for us to launch. Watch this. Watch this. It says, y'all, you shall find 2 men by Rachel's sepulchre in the border of Benjamin at Zelzah, and they will say unto thee, the asses which thou wentest to seek are found, and lo, thy father has left the care of them, and now he's looking of you. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. When I leave, I will discover that what I thought I had lost. Remember, the whole story started with his father losing something important so that the son could get out of the house to hear that there's a plan for your life by the prophet. And now notice what he says, because you were able to get outside and you will be able to hear, and the prophet saying, you got to leave me. He says, now you're going to discover that all of this was a plan of God to get you to this place. He says you're going to go and find 2 men. One man says now you're going to encounter 2 men. You're going to go to the sepulchre of Rachel. Very important picture. In other words, you're going to recover when you obey the rule of what God is saying about you. When you take the step of faith and launch, you are going to the place where everybody else perhaps has died, and I'm going to allow you to recover. You are going to the place because of faith this time. You are going through instruction and obedience, the place that everybody else perhaps died in, the sepulchre of Rachel. You're going to find out that you are launching, or you are relaunching, or you are rediscovering that I thought I lost. Now God is giving it back to me, but this time he's giving it back with a better instruction. He's allowing me to maximize this moment. Watch this, verse number 3. Now, this is Samuel, one man telling Saul, when you go forward, you're going to run into 2 men. That's 1, now 2. Watch verse number 3, very powerful. It says, then thou go on further. Thou shalt go on. That's not going to be the ending of it. You're going to recover. Number 1, I'm launching you, and in the midst of me getting ready to launch, you're going to recover all losses. Number 1, I'm recovering all losses. Number 2, he says in verse 3, he says, thou shalt go on from that, from the recovery of all losses, in the place that everything that killed everybody else, you are being able to recover. Number 2, watch what he says. He says, thou shalt go on forward, keep it moving from thence, and thou shalt come to the plain of Tabor, and there shall meet thee 3 men. Wow, look at the networking of God because you decided to bust the move. Watch it. From one man, Samuel, saying, I'm not going to hold you hostage to me, and I release you, and now you're running into 2 men networking, and then once you go to the exchange, because you're going to move forward, now you're running into 3 men. God has this already planned at your obedience to already have people in place that is going to recognize who you are, and as a matter of fact, they are set in place to bless you in your journey. Number 3, it says, y'all shall meet 3 men. Notice what it says, going up to God to Bethel, one carrying 3 kids, another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a bottle of wine. The 4th verse says, and they will salute thee. They will salute thee and give thee 2 loaves of bread, which thou shalt receive of their hand. Very powerful. First, you're going to recover. Number 3, he's going to not only allow you to recover, but now he's about to increase. He's about to, why? Now, notice what he says. You are Saul. You don't see yourself like this, but you're going to have to take a faith move to step out. Even though you don't see it yet, you're going to have to go at the word and command of God. This is not going to happen until you take the faith step to move. You are only moving on a word that defy your current situation or what you think about yourself. And he says, you're going to run into 3 men going up to Bethel, 1 carrying 3 kids, meaning 3 young goats. 3 loaves of bread, and they're going to give you provision for the journey. Wherever God guides, God always provides. There's provision where he sends. Even if you can't see it, I got to trust him that if he told me to go, I am going at his command, and I'm going to have great exchange. He's going to allow me to network with men that have already set in place, that are waiting for me. I've got to follow the instruction and the timing of God because I don't want to miss the moment. So not only will you recover, but you will be increased. You got to see yourself like this. This is Saul again, that cannot see himself past just the smallest family in the smallest tribe. God is about to re-image what you see in yourself. You will be able to see yourself as God sees you. He wants you to trust him. And this is now, let me move on just a little bit. My time, man, time is fine. Okay. So now 1 man turns into 2 men, and then it turns into 3 men. You notice how the numbers are increasing at his obedience to move. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. The 4th verse says, and they shall salute thee. In other words, here go men already set in place to salute who you are, even though right now you don't see it. They are saluting your future, even though you're still in your right now. They are saluting what is to come while you're still standing in your right now. God will send people at your obedience to verify that you are already what he said, even though you haven't seen it yet, or you can't see yourself like that. If you would make the move, he'll send the persons to verify that you are. So here it is, 3 men with 3 goats. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Something just jumped in my spirit. It says they're going up to Bethel. Bethel is the house of God. According to Genesis 35, that's where the 28, Genesis 28, this is where Jacob has an exchange where he sees the angels ascending and descending. And he says, surely that this is a place of God, and I almost not recognize it, seeing me on the run and not knowing who I am. This is what you're going to have to recognize. You could be on the run because God has made an exchange happen that you're not familiar with, and he does not want you to miss the moment. Because Jacob says, surely the God is in this place, and I almost not know it. I seen a dream. I started dreaming again. Even though I had made my bed a rough place, I started seeing again. I started seeing angels ascend and descend. That's a very powerful picture as well. I see angels ascending and descending. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because he says that 3 men are going to Bethel, the place of worship. What does that mean? Bethel means the house of God. That's why Jacob named it Bethel when he had the dream, because it was how he recognized in a very tough position that I got my dream back. I'm seeing again things that I thought I wouldn't be able to see, and I'm on the run from a very difficult situation. My head, my pillar is a rock. It's a very tough place, but I'm dreaming in this tough place. Hear me. I see angels ascending and descending, which is a very powerful picture. Please hear this. Please hear the revelation in this picture. You got to send some stuff out of your life, ascending. You got to send it up before God allows the new stuff to come down. In other words, you're going to have to lose something to gain something. You're going to have to get rid of something. You're going to allow the angels to ascend before you see God sending the new provision in your life. Somebody need to hear that, so I need to throw that in. Now, he says they're going to salute you and give thee what is needed to continue or to nourish this journey, because you're moving in faith. And there's going to be unusual supernatural provision for those that are obedient in 2019. 5th verse, watch this. Watch this. 5th verse says, and after that, thou shalt come to the hill of God, where is the garrison of the Philistines. I want to emphasize this word, garrison of the Philistines. Garrison of the Philistines. Now, it shall come to garrison of the Philistines. It shall come to pass when thou art come thither to the city, thou shalt meet a company of prophets. Hear that? Among coming down from the high place with a psalmistry and tabret and pipe and harp before them, and they shall prophesy. In other words, now watch this. I got to do this. Number one man is releasing him. He says, once I not try to dominate your life, you're going to run into two men. Remember, two men at the sepulchre of Rachel. And if you move forward in obedience, you're going to run into three men. That's one's got three kids, three loaves of bread and a bottle of wine. And then he says, if you move forward, you will go from one man to two men to three men, and then eventually you're going to come into a company of men. That's going to teach you something. Here it is. They're teaching. So when these prophets come down from the high place in worship, they're coming down with the tools that allow you to go up from where they came from. Listen to that. So you're going to run into a company prophet that's coming down. In other words, you have to leave that one man to run into two men, to run into three men, now to run into a company of men that's going to teach you how to live where they've been living. And they're going to tell you that the only way to live in the high place, I'm coming down with my psalmistry. In other words, they're going to teach you how to praise and how to give worship, how to live in the place of faith. Oh, this is so powerful. So now you're going from one man to two men to three men, and now you got a company of people that are surrounding you that's going to teach you how to live. It says you're going to come into the company of prophets, and they're going to teach you how to prophesy. Wow. In other words, they're going to teach you how to speak your future from a very difficult place, because first you met a garrison of Philistines, meaning there's some enemies in the place of your promise, but I'm going to send some people down from the high places, the place where you should be going. They're going to teach you how they got there. So now you're going to be able to speak your future through prophecy in spite of what the enemy is saying that is in your presence. Whew. In spite of what the enemy is saying that's in your presence, you're going to be able to speak the praise, and you're going to prophesy your future because you've been obedient to what God has said. I'm over my time. There's so much other stuff I see here. Man. It says, and the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them. Watch. And shall be turned into another man. In other words, the man that God has prepared to live in his next. Or you are not the man or the woman perhaps you want to be to live in your future, but God is about to turn you into that because you follow the instruction. You went from one man to two men to three men to a company, and they've taught you how to become the man that God is seeking for the next level. Can I share one more thing? And I'm out of this place. It says, and let it be, 7th verse of 1 Samuel 10, verse number 7. Listen to what verse number 7 says. Verse number 7 says, and let it be. And let it be. After all this has happened, these are signs. And let it be. And let it be. When these signs are come up on thee, that thou do as occasion serve thee, for God is with you. In other words, he says, after you see all of these things happening, Saul, even though you don't think you're that, even though you don't think you're capable of it, but after these things come to pass, whenever something comes up, do as occasion serve. In other words, you've been endowed with the power at that point. And so whatever comes up, it's going to come to mind. This is what I'm doing here. Boom. I'm going to, boom. It's going to surprise you, Saul, that when the problem arises, the solution comes to mind. So when the problem arises, because you follow the instruction, do as occasion serve. Let the occasion dictate to you. You're going to know what to do. It's just going to come alive. Because now you're not operating on your own power. You're operating under what you are anointed to operate under. You've been anointed the captain of the Lord's inheritance. So whenever a problem arises, now that you have accepted the position, you've been trained through the men, not just one man, but several exchanges. Now you know what to say and what to do whenever anything arises in your life. Are y'all still here with me? And thou shalt, 8th verse, and thou shalt go down before me to Gilgad, and behold, I would come down to thee to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifice peace offerings. 7 days shalt thou tarry till I come and show thee what thou shalt do. And that's interesting. In this moment of sacrifice, let me say this. In this moment of sacrifice, because to walk into this level of exchange in God, there's going to be a moment of sacrifice. Yes, it is. God never comes to the place or requires sacrifice that he did not prepare you to bring the sacrifice, or he didn't give you what it was to sacrifice. Please hear this. I just noticed something in this passage of scripture that I think is very powerful. It says, you're going to tarry for me 7 days, because I'm about to go up to Gilgal, and I will come unto thee to offer burnt offerings and sacrifice. Now, where is Saul getting a sacrifice from? Well, let me show you real quick. Let's go back. He says, when y'all go up to Bethel, you're going to find 3 men carrying, one carrying 3 kids, 2 loaves, and a bottle of wine. And they're going to salute you and give it to you. In other words, God's going to give you what he requires you to sacrifice. He's not going to leave you empty-handed, because it's going to be a sacrifice for you to walk into this level of exchange, and God's going to give you what is needed to sacrifice. So meet me there at the place of sacrifice. Remember, it's not going to happen until you come to the point of sacrifice. Now, notice what the 9th verse says. I know I'm talking fast, but there's so much in here, and I can't take 2 hours to give it to you. 9th verse says, and it was so. Watch this. That when he turned his back to go from Samuel. Remember, Samuel says, 2nd verse, when you go from me. The key is you're going to have to be able to leave me. Watch the 9th verse, very powerful. It says, and it was so that when he turned his back to go, he had to say, all right, Sam, I'll holler at you later. It's time for me to put into action what I've been trained for. He says, and when he turned his back from Samuel, God gave him another heart. Notice this, God gave him another heart. In other words, Samuel didn't give him this heart. Samuel spoke into his life. You're powerful. Yes, you're mighty, but this can only come from God. This heart to do what I'm about to do, and the power that this heart and the possession and the ordination to do don't come from you, Samuel. You were used by God to tell me that this was God's desire. But the exchange and the power and all of the things needed and the tools, they came from God. And it says, and it was so when he turned from Samuel that God gave him a new heart. And all those signs came to pass that day. Very powerful, very powerful. I'm going to teach more on this in depth. What is the moral of the story? That this 2019 is an incredible year. You're going to see more things now than you've ever seen before, because God is going to rapidly. For those that are hearing, this is not for everybody. Let me be very clear. This is not for everybody. Simon, Simon, Satan desires to sift you. This is Jesus talking to somebody that was handpicked by him. There are many people that are handpicked by God, but you are at jeopardy of being sifted by the enemy because you are taught that it takes no discipline. I've been chosen. Simon, Simon, I chose you, but there's an enemy that have the ability to deceive you, even though you've been chosen. So I want to make it very clear. This is a life of discipline. This is a life of discipline. That's what Samuel told Saul. You're going to have to wait on me 7 days, because we're going to have to sacrifice something for you to walk into this level of exchange. I know I told you what was available. I know that I told you that all these things don't happen. But if you are not willing to sacrifice, it's not going to happen to you, even though you've been chosen. This is a very important story, because this is a story of Saul. Remember, he was chosen to be captain over God's inheritance. But we know the end of his life, he made a decision not to follow God's instruction. This is for all of you. Please hear me very clearly. You can say, I'm the chosen of God, I'm favored of God. But your seasons don't start until you make a decision. If you're not making a decision, you're fooling yourself by saying, I'm living my best life ever. You're not living your best. You have accepted the acceptable substitution. You're saying, I'm living one step better than I always live. And perhaps that is your best life ever. But what I'm saying, there's an inheritance from God that is only going to be gotten when you follow God's instruction specifically and to the T. Please hear me. That's for me, Pastor G, and any other apostle prophet, evangelist, pastor, or teacher. If I'm not willing to discipline my life and follow God's instruction, what I'm doing is an acceptable substitution. Gifts and callings are without repentance. I gotta get this. I gotta get this. If there's no sacrifice, there's no kingdom. There's no kingship. He laid it all out to him. He said, now these are all the things that are possible. But here it is. If you don't meet me, watch this, and thou shalt go before me to Gilgal, and behold, I will come down unto thee to offer burnt offerings and to sacrifices, to peace offering, even 7 days, thou shalt tarry till I come to thee and show thee what thou shalt do. If you're not ready to sacrifice, Saul, you're probably not going to see these things happening. This is so powerful. I'm in. I got to end. I'm over time. I got to drop this in your spirit. David, the 16th chapter of 1 Samuel, God tells Samuel, the same Samuel, to go down to Jesse's house and I have prepared me a king at Jesse's house. Now notice this. Samuel, the same Saul that he's anointed in chapter 9 and 10, Samuel, the prophet, says, if I go down to Jesse's house, chapter 16, and say I'm going to anoint a king, Saul, the one that I've already anointed king, or the captain of your host, is going to kill me. He's going to kill me if I even make the mention of it. Notice what God says. God says, take a heifer with you and say that you're going down to sacrifice. Hear that word sacrifice. Take a heifer with you. Say that you're going to sacrifice. And so what happened? Samuel rides into Bethlehem with a heifer saying, I'm coming to make sacrifice. The story goes, read it, very, very interesting story, read it. He calls Jesse. Jesse brings his boys in. You know the story. He brings Eliab, he brings Abinadab, then he brings in Shammah. None of these were done. Then he brings 7 more before, he brings all of his sons before him, only to hear the Spirit of the Lord says, these are not the ones. Do you have another? He says, yeah, I got one more. Boy's back there. We don't even call him up most time because the potential he got really ain't. And so the Bible says, call up. Now watch this. Here's what I wanted to point out. When he sees David, notice what it says. Takes the oil real quickly, and he takes his oil and he pours it on David's head and says, this is the one right here. One right here. Now, here's what is very interesting. I love scripture, so I look at the detail. Watch what it says. This was very interesting. So he tells him initially, when you get down to Jesse's house, take a heifer and tell everybody you're coming to the sacrifice and invite Jesse and his sons to the sacrifice. Now, if you read the story in detail, it doesn't say that Samuel ever sacrificed the heifer that he brought. Now, was God telling him to lie? What was the sacrifice? It didn't. He just poured the oil and said, holla, I'm out of here. Well, here's what is interesting when it deals with sacrifice. David was anointed king. From the point that Samuel took out the oil, hold the oil, please hear me, people, and poured the oil on David's head and said, you're going to be the king of Israel. It was 16 years of hell before he actually walked into the palace. We thought that the sacrifice happened that day. No, the sacrifice happened 16 years of running from Saul, 16 years of his life being in jeopardy, 16 years of things not going the way I desire, 16 years of mishap, this ain't happen. So if you're going to be king, in other words, don't think that you are going to be king and not have to sacrifice. Let's pray together. Father, thank you today for this word. Thank you for the people that are hearing this word. Thank you for them making the necessary sacrifices to make what is their potential actual, to maximize this moment. I thank you for those that are coming to you again, God, and asking you to be the God of their life. I thank you for those that today that are asking you to forgive them again so that they can realign with you and your purposes in their hearts. God, I thank you for this year. Thank you for 2019 being the year of launching and relaunching. I thank you for what you're doing we have never seen before. I thank you for it. I thank you for the rumbling in our spirits to be and to come to the place that we hear specifically what you want to happen in us. There's a sacrifice that must happen to come into kingship. There's no sacrifice, there's no kingship. It's only the acceptable substitution. And Lord, I thank you that you will give us the fortitude to go through everything that you desire and to hear you clearly so that we can live the life that you've already created for us. I am so excited about this word. I want to, what God told me, there would be an increase in revelation. He's anointed me to have an increase in revelation. And so what God is saying to me, he's saying to you as well. He's going to anoint you to increase in what he's called you to do. Get ready for you to feel, or for you to instantaneously come up with a solution to a problem. As he tells Saul, once this happens to you, you just do what occasion says. You will be able to come up with the solution. Remember, it's not by your education. It's by what I put on you. I ordain you for this. So if you try to explain it, compare notes initially, you won't look like you are the one. But when you live from what I've endowed you with, you will be able to solve the problem. There's some problem solvers that are listening to me right now. It's because of your anointing that you have on you. Embrace it. But there's a sacrifice that comes with you maximizing it. Embrace it. Go to the sacrifice tonight. You are the captain, or have been chosen the captain of the Lord's inheritance. So that means that your life cannot be lived haphazardly. You just can't make any decision. You can't be influenced by what everybody else is influenced by. It does not work. You're going to have discipline. What is discipline, Pastor G? Discipline is when you have the ability to obtain, but because of who you are, you abstain. Or you say, I can get it if I want it, but because of who I am, that everything I can get don't mean that I got to have it. And it would take a disciplined person to do that. Never make a decision based off your deficiencies. Can I say it once again? Never make a decision based off and out of your deficiencies. In other words, don't tell yourself that you need to do something or have something because you never had it, because you've been deficient of it. And so now I'm just going to get everything I can get because I ain't never had nothing. That is the worst. That's called emotions. And emotions have no intellect. You will pay a heavy price for every decision you made out of your emotions. Amen. Now go to my YouTube page, Pastor G. Yes, the oral cost. Pastor G at Network of Believers. That's my YouTube page. I'm about to upload this video there. I need you to share this with people. I need you to share it. The oil cost. And here's the incredible thing about that, if you understand it. He will not put this new oil in an old wine skin. He's not going to do it because the skin will burst. That means that God is not interested in putting this precious oil in something that is going to burst. And if you're not ready for it, he's not putting it on you. So go to my YouTube page, Pastor G, Network of Believers. For those of you that want to give, here it is, $NOBC. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you for those of you that have already sown seed. Thank you for your words of encouragement. Thank you for, I'm humbled by it. I appreciate those of you that write me words of encouragement. For those of you that see us out, that's why we have to be very careful how we live our life, because you never know who's watching. Amen. And you don't live your life because people are watching. You live your life because you're dedicated to the call upon your life. But always be living the life because people are watching what you do. And so it's very important that you discipline yourself. If you're going to be the captain of the Lord's inheritance, he says you're going to have to discipline yourself. I'm not going to let you be that if you're not disciplined, because I'm not going to allow people to be injured by your actions. Amen. So Pastor G at Network of Believers, I want you to come and worship with us at 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas. That's Network of Believers. 1111 West 7th Street, downtown Little Rock, Arkansas. 9 a.m. this Sunday morning. I've got a word. It's for the 2019 year. I need to see your face in the place. It is going to be very incredible. There's a next level of revelation that is coming out, and it's going to bless the people of God. All right, I am definitely out of here. Thank you, Pastor Nolan Brown. Thank you so much, part of the NOBD family. Thank you so much. Here's us. This was incredible, and God has definitely put this in place to gear us up for 2019. Now moving forward. Amen. Now there's so many moving forward. I thank God for all of our members that are abroad. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Raina. Thank you, Sonia. All you people that are in different cities, thank you so much for being a part of Network Believers. We are so honored to have you. Thank God for you. I am out of here. Have the best weekend of your life. I got a new grandbaby. She is, what time is it? She is 27 hours old. Nova is in the house. I'm going to go spend some time with Nova. Paula, pray for us as we pray for you guys. Thank you, First Lady. I know you're there. Love you. See you in a second. Holla.